That's right, he might quit after the memo's release. But of course, this address that he gave to all the FBI employees via video, it does seem to indicate, Victor and Christy, that he is staying on the job.
And how about the man who leads the Department of Justice, Jeff Sessions? We're hearing from him in relation to Rod Rosenstein.
We are. It was interesting as this memo came out yesterday. The Attorney General was actually front and center at the Department of Justice here in Washington. It was for an unrelated symposium. But when he was introducing both Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein and the Associate Attorney General Rachel Brand, who were both speaking at that symposium, it was the Attorney General who did seem to come to Rosenstein's defense. Take a listen.
Rod's had 27 years in the department. Rachel's had a number of years in the department previously. And so they both represent the kind of quality and leadership that we want in the department.
So quite a juxtaposition there. As this memo was coming out yesterday, it was the Attorney General standing side by side with his Deputy Attorney General. Of course, the Deputy Attorney General, as Abby mentioned, he has drawn the ire of the president. We've reported this. And of course, that's because Rosenstein, he oversees the Russia probe. He's also mentioned in this memo as having reauthorized that surveillance warrant. So while the president may seem to be a bit wishy-washy as to what his stance is toward Rosenstein, it is clear that the Attorney General Jeff Sessions is standing by his deputy. Victor and Christy.
All right, important words. Jessica Schneider, thank you so much.
So some Republicans spent weeks claiming the memo showed abuses at the FBI and DOJ, but its release has just raised more questions
and
about its
asking
purpose
the
for
right
some.
questions to try to get to the bottom of what exactly the State Department was up to in terms of this Russia investigation.
Now, Democrats have, well, that's right, more coming. Now, Democrats have spent the whole, week, certainly yesterday, leading up to the memo being released, saying that this was going to be, the release of this memo was going to be a danger to national security. Here, let's see what the media has been saying.
The next Waco, the next time that federal law enforcement agencies are killed in the line of duty, that's on Trump.
I'm not surprised that the FBI comes out and says that this is dangerous. Declassifying this information is dangerous and endangers national security.
The so-called Nunes memo, a 4-page memo, which, by the way, threatens extremely classified information and endangers sources and methods.
The president wants it out, even though there are concerns that the work of tens of thousands of law enforcement and counterintelligence professionals may be smeared.
They're advancing, in some sense, the interests of Russia.
You know, adding to that, there was someone at CNN last night who called this a dark moment in history. He was referring to the memo being released. There are others saying, no, the dark moment in history is intelligence being weaponized by one campaign against another through the FISA court, which has never happened in our history.
And you had Buck Sexton on earlier who said there's no implication to national security. He actually told me less than zero. Somebody who I think would agree with that, Pete Hegseth, live for us in Minneapolis for Super Bowl weekend. Pete, when you heard this media reaction of the Republic is in jeopardy because of the national secrets that are going to be divulged, what was your reaction?
Well, predictable. You guys did a really nice job breaking it down. I mean, when you boil it down, this is political sabotage. This is political sabotage from your opponents when a small group of well-connected, powerful people use political motives and the most powerful arms of our government to target a candidate that they do not want to see in the White House. That's why Dan Bongino calls it the political scandal of our history. This is the weaponization of government for political purposes. It's how republics go down really bad and dangerous roads. So it needs to be investigated all the way down to the bottom and get a sense of who's involved, who made the calls, what justifications were made. I think this is just the beginning of what we're going to see. God bless Devin Nunes and the work they've done. Looks like we'll see a lot more from there as well.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was just saying, I mean, you're so right, Pete. This is the first time we've ever seen one administration spy on the campaign of their opponent in a presidential election. This is huge.
Yeah, let's not let the distraction of Nicole Wallace and other members of the media talking about who's to blame, and it's all distraction. It's all trying to muddy the waters away from what actually happened, which is we're having to rip details out of the deep state because Hillary Clinton was supposed to win, and we were not supposed to see any of this. Stay
Pete, real
focused
quick,
on that.
because we're going to get back to you and we'll have a little fun with the Super Bowl. But how do you balance this? Because I've been getting this on social media this morning from some of our viewers that they're frustrated with the NFL. They're not going to watch the Super Bowl this year. How do you balance all that? Because you've talked very openly about the anthem and some players not standing.
I have the same frustration, guys. Listen, I was pulling for my Minnesota Vikings all year because none of those players kneeled for the anthem. That was my justification. At the end of the day, you kind of step back and say the Super Bowl itself is a national institution. We can celebrate that. We can all stand for the anthem. We can celebrate our country. But yeah, hey, I understand if people don't tune in.
Right.
I totally get it. And I think the NFL is going to get a chance next year to prove that they've fixed this. And that's
what
part
are we
of why
going to see
we're
from you later this hour, Pete? Because you said that very well. But there's this rumor that you want to be a linebacker. Did we see any drills or anything?
Yes, I'm trying on the offense first. I spent yesterday with Stephon Diggs and Kyle Rudolph, 2 stars of the Minnesota Vikings, and we did an obstacle course called the Farm Bowl. You know, in Minnesota and in Wisconsin, Rachel, we like to do a lot of farming. So we tried some farm equipment maneuvers, and it's an obstacle course. Had a little fun with it. I got to throw a fake pass to Stephon Diggs. It was pretty cool. So we'll bring that to you on the other side.
Fake passes, fake news, everything from Pete Hegseth. We're going to come back to you, buddy.
Actually, no, I walked into that one, Ed. Come on. No, nothing fake here.
All right. So good to see you. We'll see you soon, buddy. Big news.
Thanks,
we're going to get to it every hour on the hour. Former FBI Director James Comey ripping apart the FISA memo on Twitter, calling it, quote, dishonest and misleading. Well, Ohio Congressman Republican Jim Jordan has wanted the memo out for a long time. He's fired up and ready to react next.
Take a look. Look who's in our green room right there. It's Michelle Malkin. She joins us live on set coming up, and I'm not a betting man, but I have a hunch she's going to have something to say about this.
She'll have something.
Do you think? She's going to be fired up.
I can tell you. USAA to me means peace of mind. We had a power outage for 5 days total. We lost a lot of food. We actually filed a claim to USAA to replace that spoiled food. We really appreciated that. We're the Weber family, and we're USAA members for life.
Valentine's Day, huh? You're probably planning to think outside the box. My advice? Don't. This Valentine's Day, think inside the box. Make a big impression this Valentine's Day. Introducing the perfectly paired collection from Pro Flowers and Sherry's Berries. This Valentine's
Before
Day,
I had the
think
shooting,
inside
burning
the box.
of diabetic
Make a big impression this Valentine's Day. Introducing the perfectly paired collection from Pro Flowers and Sherry's Berries.
I don't think I've ever spoken to him. I don't think I've ever met him.
Make a big impression this
Valentine's Day. Program or surveillance warrant focused on Carter Page is a proxy attack on the president and the president-elect, the candidate himself. Which is it?
Right. Well, I mean, I was part of the Washington Post team that broke the story that Carter Page was the subject of a FISA, and frankly, at the time, I was sort of baffled. And you know, what I think it underlined to me was in those early stages of this investigation, how little the FBI seemed to know. If they thought that this particular individual who had done this trip to Moscow and had been in those press reports regarding that was somehow a central figure. You know, I think what was surprising to a lot of us a year ago when we were trying to figure out who was the subject of a FISA was that there weren't more of them. We had suspected that there would obviously be ones against main characters like Paul Manafort and others like that. And we were surprised that Page, who did play a rather minor role by all accounts in the campaign itself, would be the target of the FBI.
Rachel, you brought up an interesting point about why these two memos, one from the Republicans on House Intelligence and one from the Democrats, they were not released at the same time. I mean, it's important to point out here as we wrap up that this is not the modus operandi historically of the House Intelligence Committee, this type of partisanship. And we would have to expect that the president would declassify the Democrats' memo and release that independent of what we've seen from the Republicans. Are you expecting that's going to happen?
I do expect that, and one of the reasons is because Speaker Paul Ryan has essentially guaranteed it. He has been out there saying this whole time, this isn't an attempt to try to undercut the FBI. It's not an attempt to try to undercut the DOJ, and it has nothing to do with Mueller and the Russia investigation. Now, of course, not all Republicans agree with him. Some of them are obviously using this memo to try to undercut that probe. But Speaker Paul Ryan has said he wants the Democratic rebuttal to be out there. It's a question of when. I think if the president tried to keep that from coming out, that would look absolutely terrible and overtly partisan. So I do expect a number of Republicans, more establishment type of Republicans, in the name of transparency, to put something out there.
All right, we'll see if it happens. Rachel Bade, Adamantis, thank you.
Thank you.
Well, U.S.-Russia relations just might have gotten a little colder. The Pentagon says it is planning to increase its nuclear capabilities to counter Russia.
Plus, the emergency worker that hit that missile alert button in Hawaii and sent thousands into panic. We're hearing from him now. His explanation is ahead.
I was 100% sure that it was real. Did what I was trained to do.
How do you chase what you love with moderate to severe rheumatoid arthritis? Do what I did. Ask your doctor about Humira. It's proven to help relieve pain and protect joints from further irreversible damage in many adults. Humira works by targeting and helping to block a specific source of inflammation that contributes to RA symptoms. Humira has been clinically studied for over 20 years.
Humira can lower your ability to fight infections, including tuberculosis.
Okay, and this memo claims that the DOJ concealed information from the FISA court, including Steele's personal views of the president. Is this relevant information that should have been disclosed?
Legally, no. Morally, maybe it should have been disclosed. Politically, maybe. But legally, the fact that an informant is paid, the fact that the informant is biased, will not alone invalidate a FISA warrant or any warrant. That bias can rise to a certain level in a particular case, that it should have been included in the application. But the mere fact that an informant is paid, the mere fact that that there's bias, political or otherwise, or even that they have a financial motive, is not fatal to a warrant application. It never has been, and it isn't going to start now. That being said, this is, again, the memo states an optimistic and idealistic view of the way the search warrant process and the FISA process should be. It's just not the statutory reality.
And
many people in the media were shaking their heads, dismissing this. Now that we've seen the dossier, is there real grounds for that criminal referral?
Well, yeah, I think there's grounds for the criminal referral, and I definitely think there are grounds for a second special counsel, because I'm not a big fan of special counsels, but I see no other remedy. And that's why 6 months ago, Mark Meadows, myself, and several others, we called for a second special counsel then. I think now more than ever, it is certainly warranted. The one thing I always say, though, is don't have it be someone from Washington, like Mueller and his team, all the Washington insiders. Have it be a judge, a retired federal judge from somewhere in the middle of the country, somewhere outside the swamp. Have them put together a team, then go do the investigation, and then whatever conclusion they reach, I think there's a much better chance that the American people will accept that conclusion. If it's someone from D.C., if it's Mueller who tries to expand, I think that's a problem. If it's Attorney General Sessions who's recused himself, I think that's a problem.
Right.
So I see no other remedy but a second special counsel.
Congressman, in the 10 seconds we have remaining, should this be the end of the Mueller investigation?
I leave that up to, let the Mueller investigation continue. But I think about this. Comey's gone. McCabe has left the FBI. Lisa Page has been demoted. Peter Strzok has been demoted. Jim Baker, the general counsel, has been demoted. Bruce Orr's been demoted. So lots of things have happened there. So, yeah, Chief of Staff and Rybicki has left. So I think there's lots of problems there. Mueller's going to finish his investigation. What I do know is, to date, not one bit of evidence that shows any type of coordination between the Trump campaign and Russians to influence the election.
We'll have to leave it there. Congressman Jim Jordan, appreciate you coming in. Have a good weekend.
Thank you, sir.
The VA, meanwhile, has used a quote from Abraham Lincoln as its motto for decades. Now one group actually wants the agency to change it. Wait until you hear why.
And a family is reunited with its dog 10 years after that dog disappeared. It's not Abe Lincoln, it's an actual dog. How she was able to find her way home when Fox and Friends
did she do it?
on a Saturday returns.
Mom, Dad, hi. I had a very minor fender bender tonight in an unreasonably narrow fast food drive-thru lane. But what a powerful life lesson. And don't worry, I have everything handled. I already spoke to our Allstate agent, and I know that we have accident forgiveness, which is so smart on your guys' part. Like the fact that they'll just forgive you.
4 weeks without the car.
Okay, yep, good night.
With accident forgiveness, your rates won't go up just because of an accident. Switching to Allstate is worth it.
If you just sign that first
I'm
one
so
there.
sorry. I don't feel comfortable signing that.
I don't get the math here.
Was this the same car we talked about?
What's this dealer preparation fee?
I'm so sorry. This just is not.
What we talked about.
Get the car without the car salesman. Carvana.com, the better way to buy a car.
Patients that I see that complain about dry mouth, they feel like they have to drink a lot of water. Medications seem to be the #1 cause for dry mouth. Dry mouth can cause increased cavities, bad breath, oral irritation. I like to recommend Biotene. Biotene has a full array of products that replenishes the moisture in your mouth. Biotene definitely works. It makes patients so much happier.
I'm Dan Garland. I'm an artist and a professional dog walker, and I use MileIQ. I'm always driving all over the place to take the dogs on walks, or I'm driving to an audition. These are all things that are tax deductible. I don't want to worry if I make a mistake. MileIQ is so simple. Swipe right for business, swipe left for personal. It does not share my location. It protects the privacy of the clients I work with. Life's busy enough. If you want to give yourself peace of mind, this is an app you need.
The memo shaking up D.C.
The only collusion that's been uncovered is that of the high-level FBI.
Jesse gets powerful reaction from Donald Trump Jr. tonight.
When we love someone, we want to do right by them.
What is this?
But habits are hard to break.
Honey, where are the habaneros?
And then there are things we can't control, like snoring. Now the answer is right under your nose. Introducing Theravent Anti-Snore Strips. Clinically shown to reduce snoring with the power of your own breathing.
Nice try.
There are always things that are hard to let go of. Now, snoring isn't one of them. Theravent. The answer is right under your nose.
And a Fox News alert. We have some very sad news to bring you this morning. Philanthropist, innovator, and the grandfather of our own Abby Huntsman, John Huntsman Sr., passed away yesterday.
He was an extraordinary man who did amazing things, including the creation of the Huntsman Cancer Institute 22 years ago.
Last year, on his 80th birthday, the Institute unveiled a brand new research facility, and Abby was able to see firsthand what an impact her grandfather had on so many lives. Take a look.
All of us, I'm sure, have been touched in some way or another by cancer.
We dedicate this facility to the healing and overcoming of this frightening disease.
Thanks to this magnificent new facility, we will double the size of our cancer research program at Huntsman Cancer Institute.
I hope I inherited my dad's heart.
You see, he turns 80 today with a heart that just keeps giving.
We will be able to end this disease once and for all. And in this spirit, and in this cause, and as a birthday gift from me to you, our family and the Huntsman Cancer Foundation hereby donates another $120 million to this cause. Thank you very much.
Happy birthday! Happy birthday! But when did you first decide that you wanted to give everything you had to cancer?
I decided when my mother died in my arms in 1968. I thought if ever I could succeed in any way, I would like to do something for her and cancer. Then I had it 4 times. After the second time, I said, this is the end of this stuff. It's got to come to an end. And so in 1993, we began this facility. These are the heroes of our lives, these cancer patients. You know, they don't complain. They're taking chemotherapy or surgery or radiation. And
I think someone wants to say hello to you.
Mr. Huntsman, I was diagnosed with incurable multiple myeloma in December of 2014. I found my way to your unit, and I've just completed a bone marrow transplant.
Excellent.
God bless you for this facility, sir.
Thank you.
Now we're going into the chemotherapy.
This is the largest chemotherapy center in America. Holds 108
Wow.
when we get fully staffed. And I want them all to have a beautiful view.
Look at this. You're
Good
so
service.
right. I've never been in here before.
You doing okay?
Yes, doing good. Thank
Thanks
you.
for taking care of these wonderful people for us. Tell me, what kind of cancer do you have?
I have melanoma.
Oh, do you?
Since last September.
Uh-huh.
I've had 2 brain surgeries and 8 tumors removed.
8 tumors?
Yes.
You look great to me.
Thank you. It's a beautiful thing to come up here.
Thank you.
And feel like in some way the Lord has placed this here by blessing you.
Thank you very much.
Hi, I'm Abby. Hi there. I'm Roberta. Roberta?
Hi, Roberta.
Hi there.
How long have you had the disease?
I found out last January.
How are you progressing?
Pretty good.
Good. I'm so honored to meet you.
I'm honored to meet you.
And sit down.
No, if I want a hug.
How are you,
Thank you
dear?
for all you do. I really appreciate it.
No, it's sweet of you to let us see you.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about your situation.
I am a stage 4 melanoma patient.
Yes.
And I've had melanoma for 8.5 years. So
Where's your melanoma located?
I started with a mole on my forehead,
Yeah.
and now it's in my brain, lungs, liver, spleen, bones, and my neck. So it's a fighting cancer.
When I walked in, the first thing I saw was your smile.
Oh, thank you.
I mean, you just you can tell a happy person. And a fighter.
I try every day. You just gotta figure the best out of the worst. So.
What a great attitude.
Great advice. It's so nice to meet you.
Thank you.
It's an honor to meet you. My
Our love
dad would say thank you as well. So.
Our love to you.
Thank you so much for this wonderful facility.
When I found out that the research could genetically target
Isn't that something?
the chemotherapy to the tumor itself, I was just amazed
blown
to see
away.
that type of research. I just
Your
know we're
treatment.
very lucky to be able to be in here right now. And
Love you all
very
very
blessed,
much.
and it started with you.
Wow.
Really wonderful piece.
It is a beautiful piece.
What a legacy.
It's unbelievable what he has done for so many. We have a statement from our very own Abby. My grandpa was and will continue to be the truest example of what it means to live the American dream. Serving his country, his church, and community, he taught me the importance of trust, hard work, giving back, loving unconditionally, and above all else, family. He was old school, nothing but handwritten notes and firm handshakes until the day he passed. Giving everything he had to help cure cancer, this world is a much better place because of the 80 beautiful years he lived. He will be so missed. Well
Our
said.
condolences to Abby and her family.
Yes.
What a beautiful story.
Really is. And I sent her a note last night, said she was heartbroken and that she's really thinking about her granddad, but you can see from that piece and the love that she brought to that piece, what an awesome legacy he leaves behind.
Absolutely. Well, still to come, politicians have made it clear how they feel about the president keeping Guantanamo Bay open. But what do the men who fight wars think? We're going to ask the man who killed bin Laden, Rob O'Neill, coming up.
Plus, Democrats said releasing the Republican memo would endanger national security. But they also told you that you should believe the author of the dirty dossier, now under fire. So why the double standard? Michelle Malkin on deck, and she's on fire.
God blesses people in many ways. Being a Mahindra dealer is one of mine, and I'm proud that 98% of Mahindra owners would recommend one to a neighbor.
I would definitely recommend a Mahindra to my family, my friends. I wouldn't hesitate one bit.
Every chance I get, I highly recommend it to my friends, my coworkers. I had zero issues with it at all.
I would definitely recommend the world's #1 selling tractor, Mahindra.
When someone buys a Mahindra, I know their neighbor will probably be my next customer.
I've got plenty of time to work out, said no one, ever. That's why we invented the Bowflex Max Trainer, the world's first 14-minute total body workout, combining the low-impact motion of an elliptical with the calorie-burning power of a stepper. Plus, act now and save over $500 with our winter sale, including free shipping.
The Max Trainer kicked my butt. A lot of sweat. I lost 15.5 pounds in 10 weeks. It is the fastest workout I've ever done.
14 minutes is all it takes, and you feel that burn. I cut my body fat in half with the Max Trainer.
The Max Trainer's console guides you through 14 minutes of intervals. Short bursts of effort followed by longer periods of rest, burning up to 2.5 times the calories of other workouts.
I worked half as long on the Max Trainer as other machines, and I got better results.
You feel it in your arms, your core, everywhere. Thanks to Max, I'm in the best shape of my life.
Call or go to ordermaxtrainer.com to learn about 18 months special financing and how to save over $500 with our winter sale.
This rusty mess isn't going anywhere. Don't trust it to just any cleaner. Trust the power of CLR. You can rely on CLR's patented formula to make quick work of even the toughest jobs. That shower head clogged with crusty white buildup? Just dip it in a little CLR, and it goes from running slow to running like new. CLR tackles the most stubborn stains around the house, in the bathroom, and outside the house, on stucco, siding, and more. You can also trust CLR to be safer for your home and family. The EPA awarded it the Safer Choice Seal. It gets tools shining again with just a wipe, but a swish and a rinse cleans hard water buildup in your coffee pot too. And a half cup poured into your washing machine and dishwasher helps keep them running clean and trouble-free. Trust the power of the CLR family. And next time, look for the Safer Choice Seal and trust your clean to CLR.
CLR is found at fine retailers near you. For more information about the CLR brand of products, follow us on our social media channels.
Cue the lights. You thought you knew Hulu? Think again. This is Hulu, and it's going to change your life. Now all your stuff magically comes to you. Tons of shows, new seasons, past seasons, Hulu originals, movies, and you can add live TV with sports and news. Finally, all your TV together in one place. It's not a dream.
Work
it's TV
before
come true.
A missile is fielded. Job number 2.
Cue the logo.
Mattis still has to have credible military options to back up the diplomatic effort.
He's got to present it in a way that leads up, that manages his boss, so that his boss, who has never seen combat, unlike General Dunford and Secretary Mattis, he has never experienced the kind of conflict they have seen. They have got to make him understand the catastrophic consequences of making a decision on the use of military force.
Critics say all of this lowers the threshold for President Trump to decide to use nuclear weapons. But advocates say in today's world, this strong deterrence is necessary against America's adversaries. Barbara Starr, CNN, The Pentagon.
Well, the UN says North Korea racked up nearly $200 million by ignoring sanctions and exporting banned goods.
It says North Korea exported coal to China, Malaysia, Russia, and Vietnam by falsifying documents and supplied weapons to Syria and Myanmar. So the Winter Olympics, the games begin next week, and President Trump spoke with the leaders of both South Korea and Japan to express his support for safety and success at the event.
He also talked about the increased tension on the Korean Peninsula, of course, and ways to maintain pressure on the North's nuclear program. In the meantime, the remaining North Korean athletes, they are now in the South. They're ready to compete. CNN correspondent Paula Newton is in South Korea for us. So, Paula, good to see you this morning. Tell us more about what you know regarding these conversations.
Yeah, I mean, Christy, look, you had it right a few minutes ago. That exhale, you can hear that exhale riveting around this valley right now in Pyeongchang. I mean, look, it's hard to believe that just a few weeks ago we were talking about whether or not Team USA could even come here. Nikki Haley actually putting it on the table that it wasn't a sure thing. Since then, North Korea said they're going to participate. Everyone is taking the temperature down. On Friday, President Trump saying that, look, he wishes the Olympics every success and hopes that in terms of this thawing of relations between North Korea and South Korea, that it can go somewhere, that it can lead to some good. That does not mean that anyone's out of the woods here. Obviously, very serious issues, but everyone is hoping that South Korea gets what it wants, and this being the Peace Olympics, and more importantly, Christy and Victor, that these athletes get to compete no matter which country they're coming from. You know, it's important to say here that Vice President Pence will be here for the opening ceremonies. The U.S. administration saying that, look, we put our full backing to these Olympics, a high-level delegation coming here. They'll all be cheering on Team USA, which will start to trickle in the next few days. I have to tell you, it's not as cold as Super Bowl here, but you know what? It's pretty cold, and the opening ceremonies are outside. So Vice President Pence, bundle up. That was the only advice the IOC had for anybody going to those opening ceremonies on Friday. So yeah, be thankful that Super Bowl is inside.
All righty. And you bundle up too, Paula Newton. So glad to have you here. Thank you.
All right, so the GOP memo has pitted the White House against the Justice Department, at least the leaders. Next, is the GOP united in that fight?
I tried hard to quit smoking, but when we brought our daughter home, that was it. Now I have Nicoderm CQ.
The Nicoderm CQ patch with unique extended release technology helps prevent your urge to smoke all day.
It's the best thing that ever happened to me. Every great why needs a great how.
The closer you get to home, the more you know the commute is worth it. For all the work you pour into this place, you sure get a lot more out of it. You and that John Deere tractor, so versatile, you can keep dreaming up projects all the way home. It's a longer drive, but just like a John Deere, it's worth it. Nothing runs like a Deere. Now you can own a 1E subcompact tractor for just $99 a month. Learn more at your John Deere dealer.
Wish your skin could bounce back like it used to? Neutrogena Hydro Boost Water Gel. With hyaluronic acid, it plumps skin cells with intense hydration and locks it in for supple, hydrated skin. Hydro Boost from Neutrogena.
New year, new phones for the family. Join T-Mobile, and when you buy one of the latest Samsung Galaxy phones, get a Samsung Galaxy S8 free. Plus, unlimited family plans come with Netflix included.
Spectacular!
So you can watch all your Netflix favorites on your new Samsung phones. Whoa. Join the Un-carrier and get a Samsung Galaxy S8 free. All on America's best unlimited network.
Feel a cold coming on? Zicam Cold Remedy Nasal Swabs shorten colds with a snap and reduce symptom severity by 45%. Shorten your cold with a snap with Zicam.
Shave butter by Dollar Shave Club. It's going to change your life. Well, the shave part of your life. Try shave butter and a razor at dollarshaveclub.com.
All right, those mortgage rates, they inched up for the third week in a row. Here's your look.
Teddy's a pitmaster. When it comes to playing with fire, nobody does it better. He's also a volunteer firefighter. But when it comes to mortgages, he's less confident. Fortunately for Teddy, there's Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. It's simple, so he can understand the details and get approved in as few as 8 minutes. Apply simply, understand fully, mortgage confidently. Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans.
Imagine a shirt that actually makes you feel better. Introducing Tommy Copper's all-new shoulder-centric posture shirt. Their biggest breakthrough yet. Advanced engineering promotes healthy posture and relief for achy shoulders and back. Visit TommyCopper.com to see the entire line of wearable wellness compression. They have you covered from head to toe. Go to TommyCopper.com right now and find out how you can save 25% on your first purchase, plus free shipping. Life hurts. Feel better.
Psoriatic arthritis tries to get in my way? Watch me.
I've tried lots of things for my joint pain. Now, watch me.
Think I'd give up showing these guys how it's done? Please.
Real people with active psoriatic arthritis are changing the way they fight it. They're moving forward with Cosentyx. It's a different kind of targeted biologic. It's proven to help people find less joint pain and clearer skin. Don't use if you are allergic to Cosentyx. Before starting Cosentyx, you should be checked for tuberculosis. An increased risk of infections and lowered ability to fight them may occur. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms of an infection, or if you have received a vaccine or plan to. If you have inflammatory bowel disease, tell your doctor if symptoms develop or worsen. Serious allergic reactions may occur.
With less joint pain, watch me.
For less joint pain and clearer skin, ask your rheumatologist about Cosentyx.
Well, some in the GOP are cheering the release of the now well-known Nunes memo, while others are concerned it could have a political cost. Here to discuss, Gina Loudon, Trump supporter and host of America Trends with Dr. Gina, and Alice Stewart, CNN political commentator and Republican strategist. Good morning to you both.
Good morning, Victor.
So, Alice, let me start with you and that question. Are there political challenges, political costs to the release of this memo? It was billed as bigger than Watergate. It was billed as shocking. Did the Nunes memo deliver to the president's base, to Republicans?
To the base, sure. I mean, they wanted to hear what was in the memo. They wanted to hear that there were abuses by the FBI and the Department of Justice, and they wanted to show that this FISA memo was a direct result of the dossier, which was spearheaded by the Democrats and the Hillary Clinton campaign. So they heard exactly what they wanted to hear. However, there were some that may feel that it oversold. It was oversold and didn't deliver on that. But the critics of this, specifically John McCain and Lindsey Graham, their problems, and I agree with it. We need to not look at this investigation through as John McCain calls it, a warped partisan lens. And Lindsey Graham says we need to look at this investigation through a special counsel outside and absent of politics. And in my view, this report, while it does point out some significant flaws that were used in part of this investigation, I don't think we need to paint the entire intelligence community with a bad brush. And it doesn't need to be piecemeal. Yeah. If the Republicans put out their side, I think the Democrats should have the opportunity to put out their findings at the same time.
How about that? Why aren't we hearing from, we should have seen the two reports at the same time, right, Gina? I mean, wouldn't you have liked to have seen the Democrats' memo released at the same time, declassified at the same time as the Republican memo?
Yes, but I find it really particularly interesting that I don't hear any Republicans, maybe you know of some. I haven't heard from any corner of any conservative groups or anything that are saying that any memos shouldn't be released. I think the general American public likes transparency, and I think that this president has made it very clear that he likes transparency as well.
Well, there would be some who challenge the view of the president liking transparency after the request to release the visitor logs of both the White House and at Mar-a-Lago and his tax returns. But as it relates to the transparency and not releasing memos, then why not wait for the scrubbing, as it is, to protect sources and methods of the Democratic memo and release them together?
Well, I do think that both memos should and probably will be released. I think that the American people should continue to demand transparency. I'm much more concerned about that than I am about the tarnishing of agencies that we've already seen great corruption in. Not that there aren't lots and mostly good people in these agencies, but we need to make sure, and they need to be accountable. And we do know that there has been corruption, and we do know that the collusion that did happen, that was discussed exactly as it came out in the memo. And so I think, you know, was it oversold? I don't think so, not at all.
Listen, corruption and collusion are two words that I think that most people would have questions about. But let me move on, because I invited you here to talk about something else, but we had to talk about the news of the day. I just wanted to put a pin in those two words. Specifically, this week we heard that Trey Gowdy, chairman of House Oversight, also the House Appropriations chair, Rodney Frelinghuysen, both Republicans, now say that they're going to be leaving at the end of their terms, not running for re-election. 38 Republicans in total will not be running for re-election, 22 for reasons other than scandal and running for other office. This is after the tax cut bill, Alice. This is after the legislative accomplishments that the president touted. Why are we seeing this continued exodus as if, as the president says, that 2017 was so good for Republicans?
Sure, and everyone has their varying reasons for doing so. Of course, Trey Gowdy is an excellent leader in the legal community. He wants to get back into doing more legal work, and that suits him. Everyone has different reasons. Some want to spend more time with their family, but I think the good news is the bad thing is we have to say how many are leaving for personal scandals and others leaving for personal reasons. But the good news is many of these are in safe districts, Republican safe districts. So putting up a Republican in those areas shouldn't be a challenge, and we'll retain many of those seats. And another positive thing on this, Victor, too, is that the RNC, the Republican Party, has done a tremendous job this year raising money, almost $36 million compared to the Democrats' $6 million. In an off presidential year election, that money will go a long way to hiring staff and putting boots on the ground in these districts. But I think I don't see this as a bad thing for Republicans.
They certainly have raised a lot of money, and the Monmouth poll out this week shows that President Trump's approval rating is up 10 points in the last month. Gina, finally to you before we wrap this up. The White House said that there was going to be an infrastructure plan introduced in January. The president has said that he wants to revisit repeal and replace, although that's unlikely before the midterms. We've heard from Paul Ryan. He wants to get to entitlement reform. There's a lot to do in Washington, DACA and Iran. But to what degree does this memo controversy kind of maybe feed that exodus that legislators aren't really getting to do the jobs that they were sent to Congress to do?
You know, there's only a memo controversy insofar as we sort of make it a controversy and give it wings and ask questions that maybe don't need to be asked until all the memos are released. I think if we can just be patient and demand the transparency that the American people are demanding, I don't find it as that much of a distraction at all. The economy is flourishing. You know, more than 2 million jobs created just since this president took office. Every economic indicator looks great, even with the slight dip this week. Still, the economic indicators are all doing super well. Unemployment at record lows. The list goes on. I think we'll continue to see more of that out of this administration. I think this president is very determined to turn around and revolutionize, really, the economy of the United States.
Gina Loudon, Alice Stewart, thank you so much.
Thanks, Victor.
Christy.
Thank you.
Still to come, we want to show you what happened with this dad. A dad who attempted to attack Dr. Larry Nassar in court after this dad heard horrible details of what Nassar did to his daughters. That's ahead also. To just jump out of bed or to sprint up the stairs. But this week, Staying Well looks at something that's called functional fitness, and that could change things for them.
As age has creeped up on me, I noticed little things. Going up the stairs, I'm a little out of breath. Go hiking with my family, and I'm the last one in line. I'm much more calling up to the kids, can you bring this downstairs? Or if I'm sitting down, can you grab that glass of water for me? I'm not looking to go be a bodybuilder, so I just wanted everyday functionability.
10 seconds to go. Functional fitness is where you're training for everyday movement. We don't think about how a squat will translate into an everyday world. But we squat every time we sit down. Getting into a car, getting off the couch. When we're traveling in the airports, we're putting things into the overhead compartments. That's a shoulder press.
I can totally feel this in my stomach. They had me do certain exercises and ask, how does that feel? Where are you feeling that?
Exercise should not be about getting injured. So if we find that a client has an injury, we will refer them out to a physical therapist or an occupational therapist.
After about 2 months, I noticed the aches and pains going away. I have lost some weight. I feel healthier. I feel like my muscles are stronger and they support me better. I want to be out there with the kids having the fun versus sitting in the chair and watching everybody else have those moments.
Staying Well, brought to you by Bayer Aspirin. Learn more at bayeraspirin.com.
Smile, Dad.
I take medication for high blood pressure and cholesterol, but they may not be enough to protect my heart.
Adding Bayer aspirin can further reduce the risk of another heart attack.
Because my second chance matters.
Be sure to talk to your doctor before you begin an aspirin regimen.
At Farmers, we've seen almost everything, so we know how to cover almost anything, even a red-hot mascot.
Whoop, whoop. Hey, you're on fire!
You bet I am.
Dude, you're on fire! Oh, yeah! No, you're on fire! Look behind you!
I'm cool.
That's one way to fire up the crowd. But we covered it. Talk to farmers. We know a thing or two because we've seen a thing or two. We are farmers. Bum, 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 bum.
Oh, and there's the closing bell.
I hate missing out after hours.
Not anymore. TD Ameritrade lets you trade select securities 24 hours a day, 5 days a week.
That's amazing.
It's a pretty big deal.
So I can trade all night long.
All night long.
Is that Lionel Richie?
Let's reopen the market. Mr. Ritchie, would you ring the 24/5 bell?
Sure can, Jim.
Trade 24/5. Only with TD Ameritrade.
Good questions lead to good answers. Our advisors can help you find both. Talk to one today and see why we're bullish on the future. Yours.
Running a business is not for the faint of heart. Luckily, Office Depot Office Max is here to take care of you. With print services. Done right, on time, guaranteed. Expert tech support. And this week, all Dell PCs are up to 25% off. Save even more when you purchase a Dell monitor. And make sure you protect your investment. Office Depot Office Max. OfficeDepot.com.
Taking care of business.
For the best deals on travel, just go to Priceline. Now you can save even more when you bundle your flight and hotel together, up to $625 off your trip. Go to Priceline and get the deals you won't find anywhere else.
Every night in America, people make something for dinner. But some of us make something much more. With Blue Apron, any night is a chance to see what cooking can do.
Tonight on The Axe Files, Academy Award-winning actress and outspoken talk show host Whoopi Goldberg, her view on President Trump and why she's on the march with women.
We are here to say we're not taking it anymore.
The Axe Files with David Axelrod, tonight at 7.
It takes a village to help somebody get their diploma. Changes your whole life.
Find free adult education classes near you at Finish Your Diploma.
We do anything for kids. Yet 1 in 6 children in the U.S. struggle with hunger. Help end childhood hunger near you. Learn how at Feeding America.
No one gets a diploma alone. You need support.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. It's like, hello, that's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go.
This is CNN, the most trusted name in news.
I want to share some video with you out of Argentina of just massive flooding. This video is amazing.
Yeah, causing a lot of damage there. CNN meteorologist Allison Chinchar is here. Allison, what are you seeing here?
Right, so this is the Pilcomayo River, which is kind of right near the Paraguay-Argentina border in the northwestern region of Argentina. This video is incredible because you have to understand the river rose 6 meters already. It's expected to continue to rise over the next 3 to 4 days. You can see debris, cars, even homes flowing down this river. Unfortunately, the topography plays a big role here, sitting in a lower basin. Unfortunately, though, the good news is we do expect that this should die down once we get to say about 5 to 6 days from now. A little bit closer to home, the big story here is going to be the bitter cold temperatures that are expected across areas of the upper Midwest, including that of Minnesota. The reason this is important is because this is where the Super Bowl is going to be played. Now, here's the thing. I understand it's a closed dome. We're not so much worried about the fans in the game, but rather the fans outside the game, because not only are the temperatures going to be cold, the wind chill is going to be a big factor. With wind chill, you have this outer layer of heat that sits just on the outside of your body. But when that wind blows, it takes away that outer layer of heat that surrounds your body. Hypothermia can set in just with simply a body temperature drop of only 2 to 4 degrees. When we are talking about these temperatures, too, you have to keep in mind the morning, the folks that are going to brave it, say around noon outside, the temperature is only going to be -1, but that feels like temperature, that wind chill is going to be about -18. Even for the actual start of the game, say around 6:30 for the folks kind of huddling into the actual stadium, that temperature is only going to be about 3 degrees, Victor and Christy. Here's the thing. A lot of folks keep saying this is going to be the coldest game on record. I know some folks think it's unfair to actually count a dome game as the coldest game, but just to put this in perspective, the coldest outdoor game was in New Orleans back in 1972 with 39 degrees. You're talking a high of 3 at the game. So there's no comparison for the folks just walking into the game. It's going to be incredibly cold.
You ready to go cover it?
Coy's got that covered.
Exactly. Allison, thank you so much.
Next hour of Your New Day coming up after a quick break.
So Dave here is taking the family up to the lake for the weekend, but without the white knuckles this time. Because his new 2018 Ford F-150 has Bliss with trailer coverage. It's Brainiac smart. Not only does it watch your F-150's blind spots, it's got your trailer covered too. Just another reason why Ford F-Series is America's best-selling truck for 41 straight years. This is the new 2018 Ford F-150. It doesn't just raise the bar, pal. It is the bar.
Hello, I'm an Idaho potato farmer. You've probably seen me running all over the country in search of our big Idaho potato truck. But not anymore. I'm done with that. Ooh, hot. Just going to stay home on the farm, eat a beautiful Idaho potato, and watch TV with my dog.
The big Idaho potato truck pulled into town today, and it's really a sight to see.
Oh, man. Let's go. You coming, boy?
When heartburn hits, fight back fast with Tums Chewy Bites. Fast relief in every bite. Crunchy outside, chewy inside. Tums Chewy Bites.
Your insurance company won't replace the full value of your totaled new car. The guy says, you picked the wrong insurance plan. No, I picked the wrong insurance company.
With Liberty Mutual new car replacement, you won't have to worry about replacing your car because you'll get the full value back, including depreciation. Switch and you could save $782 on home and auto insurance. Call 1-844-592-2089 for a free quote today. Liberty stands with you. Liberty Mutual Insurance.
Need a change of scenery?
the God they worship, then that can happen again elsewhere. It is one of the most profound cases of injustice that there is.
There's a deal now to repatriate potentially hundreds of thousands of the Rohingya people back to Myanmar. The question is whether that will happen, how quickly that will happen, how many people will want to return, and what their lives will be like when they get there.
How many times as a society have we said never again after Bosnia, after Rwanda, after Srebrenica, and yet we find ourselves over and over again. Sometimes I think for those of us who cover conflict closely, it feels like it almost never ends.
Is this food, is it enough? Is it enough food for your families?
That every other week we're talking about a situation where people are being persecuted, where people are being murdered, where people are being pushed out of their homeland. It's our job to keep telling these stories because it's our job to make sure that people in the world are aware of what's going on, that these things are, in spite of the cries, never again, happening over and over and over again.
Travel often by tranquil waters and purple forests, near bright white walls and rocks of orange, by icons, landmarks, valleys and skylines. When you live for adventure and discover hidden charms, because faraway places are closer than you think. Going places together with Qatar Airways.
These are some of the world's oldest treasures. They've all made it to the age of 100. Once the exception, now part of a growing trend. We're talking about aging. How, as we live longer, we can live better. We meet the nuns who donated their brains to the research of dementia.
What good is it going to do me when my brain is 6 feet under?
And a small team of caretakers changing the daily lives of their elders.
I think they could live a new life.
Vital Signs on CNN in association with Dubai Healthcare City.
Sunday, King Abdullah. He's the monarch of Jordan, but also the custodian of the Muslim holy sites in Jerusalem. Now he tells Fareed what he thinks of